Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and today we are checking out a shader related tool that I swore I covered in the past, but I guess I didn't. It's ShaderFrog, and what this is all about is creating shaders in your browser. And there are a couple of approaches to this. First off, you got a straight up shader editor that we will look at, but first there is the composition tool. What this allows you to do is take existing shaders and try and mash them up to create a composite shader from them. So you can take other people's work and try to create a compound shader out of it. So you can virtually create shaders basically by slicing and connecting other shaders together. And if you're not into shader development, this might be one of the easiest approaches you could take. Now, I do have to warn you, it can be quite fragile. So we're probably going to break it at some point during this. But if you're interested in checking it out, head on over to ShaderFrog.com and then click Go to ShaderFrog, and it will bring you to this page. And this is where you can start with the various different shaders that have been stored on here. We can sort by the most popular instead. We can search by a term, such as reflection or water or whatever, or you can just straight out go to the editor. Now, when you go to the editor, you have one of two choices. You can create a straight out shader using a shader editor. This is the most straightforward, and I will actually show you this in a second, but the main party piece here is the composed shader. So we're gonna try this, and hopefully we're not going to break things. So this is kind of your visual created shader graph. Your preview goes over here. We have an arrow to start things off. That's always lovely. And then we're gonna come up here and try to find a shader to work with. So let's go ahead and get a glass shader. So we're going to filter by glass. It's going to bring up a couple of options. So there is a glass shader. We're going to just go ahead and click that guy and we will create one. So there you go. Straightforward shader. There is your output node. There is the line connecting to make it happen. So now what we're going to do is click an empty space and we're going to add another shader. So we'll go here. We'll get a fire shader instead. And let's create surface of the whatever. And what this is automatically going to do is blend those two shaders together, like so. And now you've got a reflection shader and the surface of the sun shader, and you have this immediate result going on out here. And that's kind of the basic premise of what composite shaders are all about. You can keep bringing in these shaders. You can change the effect or the multiplier value. So we can tame this down to 0.5, for example. You'll see it's actually causing half there, one full effect. So you can change the intensity of the shader. And here you're add or blending them together. You can also right click here and create new adds or multipliers, or you can duplicate a shader, divide, or we could do, say, a color inversion. So I could take this guy, drop that in here, and we could have this pin come into, so our fire comes in here, and then what we've done is inverted the result of the fire, and we'll drop that pin out there, and now we've kind of turned fire into water. And you can just basically drag and drop and create these nodes, keep adding in new nodes from over here. So if we want to bring in, say, an animated, let's see what we got under here. We could add a spiral shader on top. No idea what this is going to do. It may just outright break it, which it appears to have done. So there we've broken our shader. You'll notice we're getting no preview over here. So just kill that and we're back to our shader. So like I said, it's trying to merge these shaders in together, and sometimes it just doesn't pull it off and it breaks the results. But as you can see, you can take other people's work and kind of bring it together, or you can write your own shader in the shader editor, bring it in here and kind of mix and match them together to create these composite shaders pretty quickly. And when you're set and you like what you've got, you can come up here and you can export it out. You can export out to Three.js, which is a very popular WebGL libraries format, which is probably what this is using behind the scenes, to Unity's format, or to the iOS format. You can also fork it, which is just going to create another copy to work with, or you can publish it. And if you publish it out, it makes it available at that home page we started at. You can publish it also unlisted or private. That's only available to you. So if you want to make it available to everyone, you publish it, or you can unlist it or private it. On top of that, you've also got the ability, and this is really cool, you can actually import from ShaderToy or GLSL. So if you're in ShaderToy and you saw a shader you really liked and you wanted to work with it or try to compose it here, you just click the import from ShaderToy and then drop in the URL and click the import button, and it will try to bring that shader in for your usage. And that's kind of the idea. Over here we've got various different preview options, so we can switch to like a teapot or a flat plane, or we can upload our own model, or we can have it work on a cube. You've got the ability to spin this guy around in the world. But now let's take a look at the other aspect of this, which is the editor point. And this is more straightforward GLSL shader editing. So we're going to click here, click the plus, and do a basic shader instead. And what you see here is you're getting a fragment and a vertex shader, GLSL style shader. Full-blown editor here with syntax highlighting, as you can see. And you've got your preview over here. Once again, you can switch different modes, different models. So we can go back to the classic teapot, of course, if we wish. Now you'll notice here we've got this light source, and that is actually defined as a uniform. So you see here you've got new basic shader uniforms. We've got colors and vectors, and this vector is the light. It is being affected right here. So you see it's at 0.125. Let's move that to 1 or 0.5 or 2. Or back to where it started. And then here you have another one here for color. So let's say we want to get rid of some of this greenness. So we're going to move this green down to 0.3, and then we'll jack our red up to a full 1. There you go. So we got a slightly more red object, and you're seeing the preview on the fly over here in this particular window. So you can keep adding. You can add a new uniform if you so wished right here, or that's actually adding a preset of them. So I'm going to cancel out of that. Where is the new basic? Anyway, so you can add new ones on here. They're either vectors or colors. Over here, you see that it's being imported right there. So the uniform vec color 3 and light position are being brought into your code automatically. You'll notice over here, there are a number of defines of uniforms that are being passed in as parameters from the Three.js library. And then we've got a couple that are provided by ShaderFrog, basically being the camera and the current time. And you can use all those values, obviously, inside of your shader. Your shader is down here. They give you a basically well-commented, straightforward shader. Once again, there is a fragment and a vertex shader provided. In the fragment shader, and well, either shaders actually, so I could come in here, and there is a bit of a bug here. But you'll notice, look right here, everything is fine with our shader. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to typo on position. So let's say I forgot the V. You'll notice immediately our shader is red. We get a line here telling us that there is an error. The shader fails to compile. And if we hover over this guy right here, it will tell us what the error is. So position is an undeclared identifier. We add our V back, and it will fix it. Our shader will compile, but unfortunately, it still shows us an error here. I find just basically go off and back on, and it will do a recompile. It's supposed to automatically fix that. I don't know why that's currently bugged out. Just do be aware that that is there. I suppose I should show you this as well. You can also do a full-blown color picker to pick your color if you so wish over here. And then other than that, it is pretty straightforward. You can create tabs here, so we can do rows and columns. We can keep tabbing across here, so we could go back to the shader we just created. So if we published this shader out here, we could then, so let's go ahead. We'll publish this. Oh, I don't want to create an account. All right, so you could publish this guy out if you had saved an account or set up your account. I'm not logged into my account, but what it would allow you to do is then find it in the compositor. So you could go back over here into the new compose shader that you were working on and have that shader available down here. So that's kind of the basic idea behind it. I think where the majority of people would spend their time is here using the existing shaders or bringing them in, as I mentioned earlier, from places like ShaderToy or GLSL Sandbox. There is a store coming at some point in time. I imagine that's how they're going to monetize things, but it is not there now. You can also, if you create really cool shaders, I think you're going to be able to sell them in the store at some point in the future. And essentially that is it. That is ShaderFrog in action. Pretty straightforward. Now this functionality is coming more and more into game engines, but there are still some advantages of doing it this way. It is agnostic to your engine. For example, if you are working in the Godot shader editor, you're working in the Godot shading language. Same way as if you are working in the Unity shader, what is it called, shader graph, it's going to have some very specific requirements from like the HDRP or LWRP or whatever. This is kind of a agnostic way, work in any browser however you want. It also nicely integrates with those other tools such as ShaderToy, and it's completely free, so it's definitely worth checking out. Now, one of the cool things about it is it does give you access to all of these different things to mix together, even if it does break easily. Now, what I do find a little strange is there's no way for me to go from here that I've found where I can go ahead and actually see the code that's being generated. That's one of the only real things that's missing. Now, I could go ahead, I could export the code out into like Three.js or Unity format and read it that way, but it would be nice to be able to basically just read it on the fly here. You can't currently do that. You can modify your viewport, you can move things around in it and make sure things that fit and so on, but there is no way for me to say, okay, well, bring this one over to the editor or bring this one over to the compositor with one click, and that does seem to be a missing feature that would actually it'd be pretty nice functionality. But yeah, that is it. That is ShaderFrog, an online editor for creating and composing shaders pretty much on the fly in your browser and for breaking things very easily. Let's try and break something. Let's bring this guy in, import, and yeah, I think well, actually, it's hard to tell. This error is coming up all the time, but we actually seem to have worked there. So let me take this guy down. So we'll make this guy a 0.1. 0.1, like so. Yeah, we're not seeing it. All right. Basically turn that guy off. Did our pattern come in? Oh, you're off screen. Oh, and there's another thing to notice. You can actually set the properties on the shaders. I didn't highlight this, sorry. So when we've got this shader set, you'll see there are a number of values you can set being passed in. You can then control them down here when that shader is actually selected. I guess I did miss that. So that is it. That is ShaderFrog in action. Have you checked it out? Are you going to check it out? What do you think? Any use for it? Let me know. Comments down below. All right, that's it. Talk to you all later. Goodbye.